Rome valued order above belief, unity above conscience, peace above truth. In the 1st century, the empire did not hunt Christians because of theology. It hunted them because they refused to faith. They did not honor the gods. They did not burn incense to the emperor. They would not declare Caesar divine. To Rome, this was not religion. It was defiance. Christians gathered quietly, often at night. Homes, basements, hidden rooms. They shared bread and memory. They repeated stories they believed were worth dying for. No banners, no weapons, no political agenda. Still, suspicion grew. Rumors circulated, strange rituals, secret meetings, refusal to participate in public life. When disaster struck cities, fires, plagues, unrest, Christians were easy to blame. They were different. They were visible by their absence. Arrests began locally, sporadic, inconsistent, but when violence appeared, it was decisive. Followers of Jesus were questioned publicly. The test was simple: offer incense to the emperor, speak a few words of loyalty, walk away free. Some did, others remained silent, and silence carried consequences. Executions were not hidden, they were staged. Rome believed fear educated better than mercy. Punishment was theater, bodies were warnings. Arenas turned death into spectacle. Crowds gathered not only to watch but to participate emotionally. Christians were fed to animals, burned alive, forced into labor camps. The method varied. The message did not. Deny your faith and live. Accept it and die. One man wrote while walking toward execution. His name was Ignatius of Antioch. Chained to Roman guards, he traveled across cities knowing his destination. He did not ask for rescue. He asked believers not to interfere. Let me be ground by the teeth of beasts, he wrote, that I may become purebred. His letters survived him. Others followed. Polycarp of Smyrna was old when arrested. Offered release if he denied Christ, he refused calmly. When threatened with fire, he answered simply. 86 years of faith could not be erased by fear. He was executed publicly. Not all martyrs were leaders. Some were parents. Some were servants. Some were unnamed. Their deaths left gaps, empty seats, unfinished conversations, unanswered prayers. But they also left resolve. Not every story ended in blood. Some ended in prison, long, slow, forgotten. Cells were dark. Food was minimal. Disease was common. Time passed without certainty. Prisoners did not know if release or death waited outside the door. One woman left a record behind. Perpetua was young, educated, a mother. Arrested during persecution in North Africa, she kept a diary. She wrote about fear, about separation from her child, about dreams that gave her strength. Her father begged her to deny her faith. He pleaded not as an enemy, but as a parent. She listened. She refused. Perpetua was executed alongside others, including a slave named Felicity, who had recently given birth. Their story spread quickly. Rome tried to silence Christians by erasing them. Instead, memory multiplied. Stories traveled faster than soldiers. Courage became contagious. Faith did not grow because death was appealing. It grew because conviction outlasted fear. Authorities noticed something unsettling. Execution did not reduce numbers. It refined them. Christians cared for the sick during plagues. They buried the dead others abandoned. They shared resources quietly. Their communities became known not for power, but for consistency. Roman officials wrote reports describing the movement. Some dismissed it as stubborn superstition. Others admitted confusion. Christians did not revolt. They did not organize rebellion. They simply refused to comply in one specific area of worship. That refusal exposed the limits of imperial control. Persecution intensified under certain emperors. Names like Nero and Decius became associated with terror. New laws demanded public sacrifice. Certificates proved compliance. Without them, survival became uncertain. Some believers fled. Some hid. Some stood firm. The church fractured under pressure, then learned how to heal. Forgiveness became a difficult conversation. What about those who denied faith and returned later? Could they be restored? Leaders debated. Communities struggled. Mercy had to be defined without erasing conviction. Pressure forced maturity. Faith was no longer theoretical. While executions drew attention, quieter endurance sustained the movement. Teachers explained belief carefully. Writers defended faith intellectually. Apologists spoke to governors and philosophers alike. They argued that Christianity produced better citizens, not worse ones. Justin Martyr wrote defenses explaining Christian worship in plain terms. He was later executed himself. Ideas traveled along trade routes. Soldiers converted. Merchants carried belief across borders. Families taught children quietly. No central headquarters existed. The church survived because it was decentralized. Till one leader, others remained. Burn one city, belief crossed elsewhere. The empire discovered that suppression had limits. Faith had become portable. By the 3rd century, the church existed everywhere but officially nowhere. It had no legal protection, no guaranteed safety, yet it persisted. Some emperors attempted total eradication, records destroyed, buildings seized, scriptures burned, leaders imprisoned. Still, belief reappeared. The pressure tested not only faith but identity. Christians learned to define themselves apart from approval. They learned to exist without permission, and in that space, conviction hardened. When persecution slowed temporarily, growth accelerated again. When it returned, the church did not vanish. Rome could not decide whether Christianity was weak or indestructible. It was both, fragile in individuals, resilient in continuity. The church did not survive because it was protected. It survived because it was convinced. People chose faith knowing the cost. Parents made decisions their children would remember. Prisoners spoke knowing their words might outlive them. Communities rebuilt knowing destruction could return. Persecution revealed something Rome did not expect. Belief rooted in conscience cannot be legislated away. Fear can silence crowds, but it cannot erase conviction carried person to person, generation to generation. The era of persecution did not end the church. It shaped it. What followed would be different: power, recognition, influence. But this period remains its crucible. Faith under fire did not disappear. It endured. An endurance changed history.